Hi, thanks for joining me for this quick chakra tune-up for the 5th chakra, Vishuddha. This is also sometimes called the throat chakra because Vishuddha rules the throat. It also, I like to think of it as the ear, nose, and throat chakra because if you have issues with the chakra, you might have like a cold, issues with the ear, nose, and throat, ears, nose, and throat. And also, this chakra is about clear communication associated with the throat, but also with, so it's about speaking your truth, but it's also about hearing your truth, so the ears. This chakra is all about knowing your own inner truth and being able to effectively communicate that truth. So you want to be sure to take good care of this part of your body. Aside from the stuff that we're going to be doing on the mat today, some other practices that you might look into are tongue scraping. I highly recommend it. Nasal irrigation, and just maybe if you're feeling any pressure in the sinuses, you can give yourself like a sinus massage. There's some really good videos on YouTube about how to do that, but basically just keeping things flowing is helpful. Okay, so we're going to be focused on the neck and shoulders, and maybe the lungs a little bit as well, but that gets into the heart chakra. So to start out, let's go ahead and do some neck rolls. So we're going to inhale and lift the chin, turning the gaze towards the ceiling, but being mindful not to compress the back of the neck. We're just stretching the front of the throat. And then on the exhale, taking the chin towards the chest. Inhale, lifting the gaze. And exhale, taking the chin towards the chest. Exhale, taking the chin to the chest. Inhale, bringing the gaze straight forward. On the exhale, we'll take the right ear towards the right shoulder. Inhale, bringing healing energy to any tight spots. On the exhale, taking the chin to the chest, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder. Inhaling, bringing healing energy to any tight places. And exhale, taking the chin to the chest, right ear to the right shoulder. Just following your breath. If you're feeling any pain or tightness in one particular area, you might want to pause there where you're feeling that tightness and take an extra breath. And exhale, taking the chin to the chest. Inhale, bringing the gaze straight forward. If you want, you can do a few quick shoulder rolls. All right, so let's come on into child's pose. So you can start in tabletop, bring the toes together. You can have the knees touching or have them spread out about the width of your mat. Reaching the hips towards the heels. They don't have to touch, they're just reaching in that direction. Reaching the forehead towards the mat. You can have the arms stretched out in front of you. You can clasp your hands and bring them underneath the body if you have the knees spread apart. There's lots of different options. You can reach the hands towards the heels if you have the knees together. And inhaling here, I'd like for you to visualize a blue sphere of light in the center of the throat, glowing brighter with every breath. Really breathing into that blue sphere of light, bringing your awareness to the throat. And then we're going to bring the hands so that they're underneath the shoulders. We're going to bring the knees closer together so that the knees are touching, if they're not already. We'll bring the hands so that they're underneath the shoulders. Okay. And then we're going to bring the forehead as close to the knees as we can so that sort of the top of the head, maybe even the crown of the head, is in contact with the mat. And then we'll curl in the toes. So when you curl in the toes, I know when I curl in the toes, I really feel the crown of the head coming onto the mat. Engaging the shoulders, don't want to put too much pressure on the neck. Now, if you feel like you can hold this with your core and your legs and your glutes without putting too much pressure on the neck, you can reach the hands towards the heels. And then we'll inhale, lift the hips, and exhale, bring the hips back down towards the heels. Breathing into the throat. And then let's bring it back into child's pose. And come up to seated. And let's bring the legs around. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. We'll scoot up. And imagining that you're holding a tray of drinks that you don't want to spill, lowering inch by inch down to the mat, engaging the core, taking your time, bringing the back of the head to the mat. We'll bring the heels in towards the hips, bringing the feet in towards the glutes. We'll reach the fingertips towards the heels. They might even touch the heels, maybe not, it's okay. A nice inhale and exhale, engaging the core. Inhale, release. We're going to spread the fingers nice and wide, and on the inhale, pressing through the soles of the feet and the palms, we're going to lift the hips, coming into bridge pose. So when you come into bridge pose, you might notice that the chest comes up towards the chin. So this is engaging a bandha, or an energy lock in the body called Jalandhara bandha, which is in the throat. You can clasp the hands under the body if that feels comfortable, rotating the inner arms up towards the ceiling, lifting the hips a little bit more, really pinning the shoulders to the mat. Also, you can bring a block under the lower back here if you need some support in this pose. Really using the legs here to lift up the hips. And then we'll exhale, releasing the hands, releasing the hips back down to the mat. Inhale, lifting the feet up off the mat. We want to keep the sacrum safe, keeping the lower back in contact with the mat, but drawing the knees towards the chest, maybe gently rocking from side to side. Okay, so I'm going to be demoing shoulder stand. Feel free to do that if you'd like. If shoulder stand's not in your practice, you might try doing legs up the wall pose, which is kind of like this, or just imagine that you have your legs propped up against the wall, or you can actually prop your legs up against a wall. But if you'd like to practice shoulder stand, you roll the shoulders away from the ears, bring the arms alongside the body, the palms face down on the mat on either side of the body. We're going to point the toes, straighten the legs, and we'll start to hinge from the hips, bringing the legs over the head. And then when you've built up enough momentum and feel like you're ready to take this on, you can point the toes straight up to the ceiling and bring the hands to the small of the back, kind of like you're opening the pages, spreading open the pages of a book, gazing straight at the toes, keeping the legs straight, engaging the abdomen. Okay. And then on the exhale, hinging from the hips, maybe bring the legs over the head. So just do what feels okay for you. Bring it as far as you feel comfortable. If the toes touch the ground behind you, then you're in plow pose. Be sure to focus on the breath here. Bring your awareness to that throat chakra. And then from here, you can bring the knees onto the ears. And then flex the feet. And imagine that you're pressing a ceiling tile up into the ceiling. Then pointing the toes, coming back to that shoulder stand. And then we'll curl the knees into the chest and come down one vertebra at a time. And then, so we're all back here in this legs up the wall pose. Slowly lower the legs 1 inch at a time, pointing the toes. Okay. So from here, I'm gonna demo fish pose. If you have any cervical issues with the neck, you might want to skip this one or do a restorative version where you just rest on the bolster, lay back on the bolster, or a cushion to lift the chest. But if you want to try the unmodified fish pose, here it goes. So I bring the right hand underneath the body with the palm face down, underneath the right butt cheek, and then the left hand goes under the left side, pointing the toes, and then press down through the forearms from the elbow to the wrist. Imagine that there's a hook in the chest, drawing the chest up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, bringing the back of the head or the crown of the head towards the mat, opening up the front of the throat, keeping the chest open, pointing the toes, opening up the whole front of the body, and keeping the mouth closed with the tongue pressing into the roof of the mouth. We'll bring the back of the head to the mat. Release the hands from underneath the body. And we'll roll the shoulders away from the ears, bring the arms alongside the body, just let the feet fall out. Coming into Shavasana. I also sometimes like to do reclined butterfly pose after doing fish pose, so you can bring the soles of the feet together and just let the knees open out. Taking a moment here. Take a good inhale, and the exhale, bring it onto one side of the body, resting for a moment in the fetal position. And then we'll take the top hand, gently, carefully, slowly pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. Exhale, taking the hands to heart center. May speak and follow your truth. Namaste. Thank you.